What if the problem isn't him, but the pattern you keep handing him the script to? Stay with me. Same man, same pain, just different body, different name. If this sentence made your stomach drop, this video is for you. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what actually changes things. And those are very different things. I'm a physicist. I studied how systems behave, and this is what physics taught me about relationships. A pattern doesn't break itself. You have to introduce a new variable. And today I'm going to show you what that variable is. By the end of this video, you will understand why this keeps happening. And it has nothing to do with bad luck, bad taste, or being too much. But it has everything to do with the program that was installed in your head before you were even old enough to question it. Imagine a little girl. She might be 6 or 7 years old. Her dad is inconsistent, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes just gone. She learns something, not consciously. Her nervous system learns it. Love is uncertain. Love requires waiting. Love requires earning. This little girl is now 34 years old, and she's sitting across from a man who runs hot and cold. And something in her feels familiar, not comfortable, familiar. Those are two different things. Behavioral psychology calls this an anxious attachment pattern. Here, your nervous system is not looking for what's good for you. Your nervous system is looking for what's familiar. It is looking for what it already knows because it's running a program that was written decades ago. Now, this is not your fault. You didn't choose this program, but you are the only one who can update it. Let me break this down into 3 patterns I see women in their 30s constantly stuck in. Pattern number 1, the fixer, who is always attracted to potential, not to who he is, but to who she believes he can become with enough of her love, patience, and sacrifice. She's not in a relationship, she is in a renovation project. And she always wonders why the project is never finished. And the longer she stays, the more she invests, the harder for her to leave. Scientists call this the sunk cost effect. The more you invest in something, the harder for you to leave it, even when the return is zero. And that's why many people stay stuck in relationships, in businesses, in situations that drain them, not because of what they are getting out of them, but because of how much they have put in. And so they invest more and more. While what they should have focused on is, how much will I continue losing if I don't stop investing in this? Pattern number 2, the peacekeeper, who shrinks and softens her opinions just to keep the peace. She laughs off things that hurt her. She tells herself she's being easygoing. But what she's actually doing is that she's making herself smaller so that he doesn't leave. And she ends up in a relationship where she barely exists. Scientists call this the fawn response, which is a nervous system survival mechanism. It is simply a stress or trauma response where someone tries to stay safe by pleasing others, by avoiding conflict, and prioritizing other people's needs over hers. It is actually the first pattern to fight, flight, and freeze. So instead of fight, confronting the danger, or flight, running from it, the person copes by appeasing the perceived threat. So someone that is in the fawn response cannot say no, even when saying yes means no to themselves. They take responsibility for other people's emotions. They go out of their way so they don't upset others. They struggle with setting boundaries and they feel anxious in conflict moments. Pattern number 3, the skeptic who still stays. She knows something is wrong. She can feel it. She can even be watching videos like this, but she still stays because leaving feels more dangerous than the familiar pain of staying. And this is what I call the devil you know. And in science, this is called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a mental tension you feel when things are in conflict with each other, usually beliefs, feelings, values, and actions. Your brain naturally wants things to match, and so when they don't, it creates this discomfort. And instead of changing their actions, most people try to reduce this discomfort by making excuses, by minimizing red flags, by rationalizing the behavior, and staying in denial. For example, someone buys something expensive that they don't need, and they know that their financial condition is not that great. So instead of stopping buying those things, they say, but this is a great investment. This Birkin bag is a great investment. Or I care about my health, but I skip exercise. It's okay, I'm busy. Most people are like this. I will just do it next week. If you recognize yourself in one of those three, congratulations. Most people never get this far. And awareness is the first variable. In physics, there is a concept called strange attractor. It is a pattern that a chaotic system keeps returning back to, not because it is forced to, but because the system internal structure pulls it there. And no matter how variables change on the surface, the underlying pattern resets itself. You're not chaotic, but your attachment system has a strange attractor. And until you change the structure underneath, you will keep orbiting the same type of man. Even when his name, his job, his face are completely different. I need you to hear this. It is not about choosing a better man next time. It is about becoming a woman whose internal structure no longer resonates with unavailability, inconsistency, and disrespect. When you change the attractor, the orbit automatically changes itself. Same character, same pain, just different body, different name will continue until you rewrite the story from the inside. When you start doing the work, therapy, setting boundaries, nervous system regulation, healthy love is going to feel boring at first. Not boring like bad, but boring like quiet, like calm, like consistent. And your nervous system, which was trained on chaos, is going to whisper, "This isn't exciting enough. Something must be wrong." That whisper is not wisdom. That whisper is your program trying to keep you in familiar territory. Because your nervous system has become addicted to the highs and lows. Scientists call this intermittent reinforcement. And that's why many women stay in a relationship where the partner is hot one day, cold the next. Not because they are in love, but because that pattern triggers an addictive cycle in the brain. I've already explained that in this video. You can watch it next, but after finishing this one. So, staying in toxic relationships is not a character flaw. It is just your nervous system still running the program that was installed in it decades ago. And once you understand that, you stop blaming yourself for being addicted to the wrong men. And you start doing the work to retain your system. But I need to be completely honest with you. Understanding this is not the same as changing it. You can watch every video, read every book, and still wake up 6 months from now in the same situation. Because knowledge without action is just a very informed suffering. So, what are the actual variables that break the pattern? 3 things. Variable 1, nervous system work. Not just therapy, not just journaling, but actual somatic work. Learning to regulate your body response to stress, abandonment triggers, and emotional intensity. Because this is where the pattern lives and this is where it has to be addressed. Variable number 2, boundary architecture. Not the kind of boundaries you announce, but the kind of boundaries you enforce quietly and consistently. Boundaries are not walls, boundaries are the architecture of self respect. Variable number 3, pattern recognition before attachment is formed. Most women try to set boundaries after they are already attached. By then, the sunk cost effect is running. But what you actually need is to spot the signs in the beginning, before your nervous system bonds, before leaving feels like a loss. If you want to learn how to spot manipulation early, the obvious and the subtle, set healthy boundaries, learn how to communicate what you feel without spiraling, and much more, you can join my program, Overcoming Gaslighting. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. So here's what I want you to leave this video with. You didn't end up in these patterns because you are weak, broken, or bad at love. You ended up here because you were a child who adapted to survive. And those adaptations, they worked then. They kept you safe. They helped you to navigate an environment that you couldn't control. But you are not that child anymore. And the men you are choosing, the unavailable ones, the inconsistent ones, the ones who make you feel constantly like you are auditioning for your relationship. They are not your destiny. They are just your default, and defaults can be changed. In physics, a system stays in its state until it's acted upon by an external force. That is Newton's first law. And the external force could be joining a program like overcoming gaslighting, starting therapy, or working with a coach. The question is whether you are ready to apply or keep waiting. If you want to know how close you are to attracting the partner that you have been dreaming of, watch this video next. See you there.